So for example, when I finish my homework, we'll play football. You know, this time it's sure, it's certain, it's seguro. You know, cuando acabe los deberes, jugaremos. It's for sure. I am really, really sure. So I say, when I finish my homework, we'll play football. But it's different from if I finish my homework, we'll play football. Okay? So if I use if, I'm talking about a possibility. And if I use when, I am really, really sure about it happening. Okay? So when I arrive home, cuando llegue a casa, when I arrive home, I will have a pizza. You know, I am sure that I will have a pizza. When I arrive home, I will have a pizza. Or I can say, if I arrive home before midnight, I will have a pizza. Si llego antes de las 12. You know, because after midnight, it's not good to have a, you know, really, really generous dinner, you know. Unless, you know, I mean, in my case, I can't sleep if I have, a lot of food at night. So if I arrive home before midnight, I'll have a pizza. Or when I arrive home, no matter the time, you know, when I arrive home, I'll have a pizza, for sure. Okay, so those are the two first words that you can use with the first conditional, if and when. And the final word is unless. Unless, it means si no, or a menos que. Unless, you know, with double S. Unless. U-N-L-E-S-S. Unless. So, for example, unless it rains, we will play basketball. A menos que llueva, unless it rains, we'll play basketball. Si no llueve, jugaremos. Unless it rains, we'll play basketball. Okay, so that's the first conditional. You know, you made it. That's it. You know, you don't need to know a lot more. The zero conditional, we said if plus present simple, comma, present simple. And we use it for universal truths, you know. If I wake up my father during a siesta, he freaks out, you know, he goes crazy. If you make classes fun, students learn fast. If you heat water, it boils. That's a zero conditional. And the first conditional, we use if plus present simple, comma, will. If you study, you will pass. If I arrive home early, I'll watch a movie. When I arrive home, I will have a pizza, for sure. Okay? Or unless it rains, we'll play football. A menos que llueva. You know, if it doesn't rain, unless it rains, we'll play football. Okay, so congratulations, you made it. You know, the zero conditional and the first conditional. Perfect. Now, just basic mistakes that a lot of students make. You need to be really, really careful with these mistakes. One of the most important mistakes is the subjunctive, okay? El subjuntivo, you know? Cuando llegue, cuando me llames, cuando haya terminado, you know, that's a subjunctive, okay? El subjuntivo en español. So, a lot of students, you know, they get really, really confused about this, but it's very, very simple. The subjunctive in English is the present simple, okay? El subjuntivo en inglés no existe, es el presente simple. So you say, when you call me, I will do it, okay? Lo haré cuando me llames. Cuando me llames es un presente. When you call me. When you call me, I'll do it. Or for example, when I finish, I will call you, okay? Cuando termine, when I finish, I'll call you. Te llamaré. So it's a subjunctive. It's very, very super easy, okay? So don't get confused. You know, there is no magical fantasies about the subjunctive. The subjunctive is a present simple. Okay, when you call me, cuando me llames. When I finish, cuando termine. You know, when I'm in Madrid, cuando esté en Madrid, when I am in Madrid, I will call you. And I think that's all, you know. I'm trying to think about more mistakes. Just be careful with the comma, you know, for example, especially when you're writing, if you're doing a writing, don't forget the comma, because it's very important, you know. English people, you know, in general, or English-speaking people, which is different. English-speaking people are very, very picky about spelling. Son muy tiquismiquis con la ortografía. So be careful about the comma. Don't forget to use the comma with a conditional sentence, you know. And I think that's all. You know, the subjunctive, that's one of the most important mistakes. Now, the final thing that I wanted to tell you is that, well, another common, it's not a mistake, but a lot of people have problems with this, is the pronunciation, you know. When we use the first conditional and we use the second part with the will, with the future simple, with will, people don't speak like Japanese robots, so they don't say voy para el campo. We say voy pa'l campo in Murcia. So people don't say I will go to your house. I will go. They say I'll go. So the contraction for the will is actually the subject, el sujeto, and then the L. Simplemente le añadimos una L. We only add an L sound. So we say I'll. Okay, el apóstrofo doble L. I'll play with you. I'll play with you. Or you will come. You'll come. Okay. I spoke about this in another podcast. I remember, in the class about the future. I spoke. I told you, but it's always good to remember. Just be careful and try to get used to the pronunciation of the contractions, because when real people speak, when you listen to real English, people will use contractions. Okay. And, the final thing that I wanted to say is it's a little trick for your Cambridge exam. If you're preparing for the B1 exam for Cambridge, this is something that appears a lot, and it's in the writing exam. One of the writing parts is actually sentence transformation, okay? You are given a sentence, se te da una frase, and then you have to write another sentence below. You have part of the sentence and a gap, te dan parte de la oración con un hueco, and you have to finish the sentence so it has the same meaning as the first one. Okay, so they give you two sentences, and the second sentence has a gap, un hueco. You have to finish the second sentence with the same meaning as the first sentence. And, something that a lot of people confuse, and this is very simple, is that when we use unless, ¿te acuerdas de a no ser que o si no? When we use unless, the meaning of unless is exactly the same as if not. O sea que es lo mismo decir si no que a no ser que. So we say unless, or we can say if not. So for example, unless it rains, a menos que llueva, unless it rains, we will play. And it's exactly the same as if it doesn't rain, we will play. So if you think about it, they have the same meaning, but we use different words. If it doesn't rain, si no llueve, if it doesn't rain, we will play. Unless it rains, a menos que llueva, unless it rains, we will play. So this is the type of sentence that you might find in the exam. You need to be careful, because this type of sentence always appears, always shows up in the exam. Aparece muchísimo en el examen. So just be careful and try to transform the sentences, If you call me, if you call me early, si me llamas temprano, if you call me early, we will go out, If you call me early. And it's the same as, unless you call me late, a menos que me llames tarde, unless you call me late, we'll play. If you don't call me late, we'll play, or we'll go out, or whatever, okay? So just be careful about that. And I think that's all. That's all for today's class, actually. This is a very important class, so I really hope you learned. Just to summarize, to sum up, and this is a good phrasal verb, verbo frasal, is sum up, S-U-M-U-P, sum up. Sum up. This is, para resumir, to sum up. So to sum up, I'm just going to tell you again. Conditionals. We have if and the condition, comma, and the result. And we can invert the order. We can say first the result and then the condition. If you study, you pass. You pass if you study. And in the second case, we don't have to use a comma. Then we've got 4 types of conditionals for English, in English language. But for the B1 level, you only need 3 types of conditionals. And today we spoke about only 2 of them. The first type of conditional is the zero conditional. And it's created using if, present simple, comma, present simple. The first conditional is if, present simple, comma, will, the future. The zero conditional, we use it for universal truths. They can be scientific, they can be about your life. And the first conditional, we use it for possibilities in the future. And with this conditional, with the first conditional, we might use 3 different words. If, when, and unless. And finally, the subjunctive doesn't exist in English. So for the subjunctive, we use the present simple. When you are here, cuando estés aquí, when you are here, we will play. Okay? So when you finish this podcast, you will be able to use conditionals. Okay? And I just use a conditional. When you finish this podcast, you will be able to use the conditionals. Okay? And if you keep listening to Daway Inglés, you will learn a lot of English, okay? Because you are awesome. So, that's all, guys. As I said, I'm really, really glad to be back and to have classes for you. I'll see you next class. Remember that you are listening to DawayEnglish.com. Have a good day, and I'll see you. Take care.